Hello everyone and welcome back to another live stream. This is episode 6 in season 2 of building a second brain application. So I hope everybody's doing well. Let's check the health of the stream. Everything is looking good. If you're on stream, say hi. And if you want, tell us where you're dialing in from and what's your poisson. This is tea, freshly brewed. It's wonderful black tea with a dash of milk. So, for today, I wanted to look into adding some AI to the application, which, is a little bit funny because we've been doing this for, well, essentially since the beginning of working on this application. But I thought now that Apple Intelligence is almost available in the EU, you can get it on your device if you are bold enough to install Xcode iOS 18.4 beta on your main device, or if you have a test device, on your test device. And it's working quite okay. So the good news is it works without having to jump through any hoops. So you don't have to say, well, I'm in a completely different country. You don't have to use a different account on your App Store account, nothing like that. So you can just long press the power button and it will show the this nice animation, and then you can just start talking, or you can say, hey Siri, and it will listen to you. And yes, I don't understand. So I was hesitant to actually say hi Siri. So because it listens to me. So so since that is now available, I thought it might be a good idea to see if we can add this to our application and combine what we've done so far using Gemini, using Genkit, using Vertex AI, and plugging this in to Siri. And so let's do that today. I've tried this out. It works reasonably well, but the usability is still kind of like so-so, as you'll see in a moment. So let's see. I did hear a chime, so somebody said hello, and there you are. Hello, Reza. Nice to have you. Welcome to the stream. And welcome to everybody else who's tuned in since we started. All right, so let's switch over to the live view. And let me rearrange the screen a little bit so that you can actually see what's happening. Okay, so this is not the simulator, but it's a mirror of my phone. So I have this phone here, and so what you see on the screen is what's on my phone. So for anyone who's new to the stream and who hasn't seen what we've done before, so basically we've built an application that I can use to track news articles and blog posts and interesting stuff. So let's just go and add a new article. And it's not, it's not feature complete, as you can see in a minute. So this is the most recent issue of my newsletter. So let's add one of the articles that I linked here. So how about this one here? Xcode constantly phones home. So here's the article, and I don't have time to read it now, so I'm just gonna go and grab it, and I'll copy the URL, and then I'm gonna go and add this here. In the future version of the application, there's going to be a share sheet, right? So this way of doing it right now, that's kind of cumbersome, but in the future version, there'll be a much better way to do this. And the application extracts the title and, if possible, the author and an excerpt of the blog post, which currently is not possible because apparently this author didn't provide this information. The application uses the Open Graph meta tags to do that. If you don't set them, the application will not be able to do this, unless we add some AI, which we might actually do in the future. Okay, so I'm going to add this, and now you can see that this new article is here at the bottom. Oops, and nice. Okay, so let's. Okay, so apparently there is something in the app that crashes if you tap on an article. That I don't know what's wrong with this one. Let's try a different one. How about this one here? Okay, copy, come back to the application, add it here. Okay, so, and I think it was this, no, it was not this one, this one. Okay, right, so it simplified the HTML a little bit, made it easier to read, and another thing that I can do is I can go in and I can take some notes, so I can either take notes myself or I can use this magic wand button to have the application analyze the article and then use Vertex AI to talk to Gemini and create a summary of what's in the article. Hello Lars, hello Andromeda. I'm fine. Hopefully everybody else is doing fine as well. So this is one of the features. Another feature of the app is, now that we have a couple of articles in here, let's imagine we had a lot more articles, but this will do. And they are about different topics. So we can go in and tap on this chat button here, and then I can type a question. So for example, let's see, what is telemetry? Because I think that was something that was discussed in one of the articles. Let's see. So, no answer so far. What's happening? Oh, here we go. Okay, so, and the answer we get back is grounded in the data that we have in the database. So for example, here it says, telemetry derived from the Greek words for remote measuring involves the remote gathering of data to monitor the usage and performance of applications. And then it goes on for a bit. And at the end it says, for example, VS Code collects usage data, crash reports, and error data through telemetry to improve the product. So let's see if this other article about Xcode phoning home also did end up in the database. What about Xcode? Xcode. Does it use telemetry as well? All right, so, and this is actually grounded in the article as well, in this other article that caused the app to crash for some reason. Yes, Xcode uses telemetry. It connects to various Apple domains like developerservice2.apple.com for provisioning updates and so on and so forth. These connections can send identifying information about the Xcode project and the developer to Apple. So, can I turn this off? can I turn this off? So, okay, so yes, it appears you can turn off telemetry in Xcode, though perhaps not completely, and then it explains how. So the article discusses blocking connections to certain Apple domains to prevent some telemetry, right? So this basically grounds the answers in the database, and I'll show you how this looks like. So the reason why I'm using the phone instead of the simulator is there are a couple of reasons. So one is you can't use Apple Intelligence on a simulator. Well, you can using the Shortcuts app, but if you want to have like the full experience, you'll need to use a phone. And the other reason is that I'm connected to the production backend, which, to be honest, I could have done from the simulator as well. But anyway, so we're connected to the production backend. So here is the application, and we can see all the data that we added to the application. So here is the article about VS Code using telemetry, and you can see the author's name here. That's the article, one of the articles I added a minute ago. And you can see this thing here, embeddings, which is a field in a database that contains the vector embeddings for this article, which allows us to find the article depending on the user's query. So let's look at the question that I sent to the application. So we can go into this Genkit monitoring dashboard here, and you can see all the requests that we sent, and we've got a really nice chart here. And here we see the functionality in the application that uses AI, and there are two features here. So one is the embeddings model, which we use to compute the embeddings for anything that we add into the database. And then we've got this semantic QA flow, and that is what we use to have this conversation with the application. And you can see that here we have a call that came in at 2013, and when we look into this, we can see the entire flow of data that took place. So first of all, you can see that we start here. The flow input was an array of messages, and it starts with the model saying hello to the user, and then the user asking the first question, what is telemetry? And you remember that was the first question that I asked. So you get the answer from the model. And then we have my next question. We've got the answer from the model. We've got the next question, can I turn it off? And then down here, we have the answer from the model. And let's look at another node in this trace here. So this one here, for example, Firestore artifacts, that is the one that goes to the database to retrieve our documents. And once it has fetched the documents, it will pass this to the model to generate the answer. And you can see that I pass in a rather complex prompt saying, answer the following question. And then you have the last question of the user. And then please use the following chat history as context. And we pass in the entire chat history that I built up in this interaction with the model. So we're passing on all of this. We're also passing in all of the documents that are most similar, and then we get the output back. All right, so that is what we built so far, and what I'm gonna do today is connect this to Siri. And before we actually implement this, I wanted to show you how it's going to look like in the end. So fingers crossed that it still works. So there is one feature in Siri that not many people know, and you can basically just long press on the power button and then ask, what can I do here, to get, feedback about which Siri features you can use. So let's try this. What can I do here?
Here's something you can try in Sofia.
Search my knowledge base in Sofia.
Sure. What would you like to know?
What is telemetry?
Telemetry is the remote measuring and gathering of data on the use and performance of applications. In the context of software like versus code, telemetry data helps developers understand how to improve the product.
All right, and then it goes on to read this entire thing here.
Okay.
Okay, so, and it's still listening, so when I said something, it thought I was gonna continue the conversation. So that is what we want to do. And also, I mean, like, if you are in the app, you obviously can use Siri, but it makes a lot more sense if you are outside of the app. So if we are here, talk to my knowledge base in Sofia.
Sure. What would you like to know?
What is the difference between sleep and yield?
Based on the provided context, here's the difference between sleep and yield in the context of Swift concurrency. Sleep, task sleep.
All right, and then we get this answer, which is based on another article that is in the knowledge base. And you can see that down here, it uses Markdown to render this list, and you can see the formatting of the code and stuff. So this is really nice. And if I tap on this, it will even go back into the application. Right, so let's build this. And let me go into Xcode and find the right place to do this. Okay, so while I'm looking for the right place to do this, I'm interested if you've used Siri in your apps before. Well, every time I say Siri, the phone goes off. If you've used Siri in your apps before, if you've implemented Siri features, and if you're using Siri and AI in your daily life as a user. So just, say yes, no, or if you want, the use cases that you use or that you've implemented. And while you're doing that, I'm going to find the place where we need to start. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is create a new folder that can hold an intent. And what we're going to do is excuse me, we're going to implement an app intent. So I'm going to create a new Swift file, and I'm going to name it semantic QA intent.swift. Okay, Reza, hopefully this session here is going to be useful for learning how to add Siri support to your application then. So we need a struct now, semantic QA intent, and this is going to be an app intent, and we need to import the app intents framework. And now it tells us, well, this doesn't conform to the app intent protocol. So first of all, we're going to provide the name for this intent. And this is what's used, for example, in the Shortcuts app to show you the name of your intent. So let's call it search in Sofia, for example, and then we can also get a description, and the description is search your knowledge base in Sofia. Nice. Okay. So when the user interacts with your app via an intent, we also need to get the user's question. And you saw me doing this when I talked with the application via Siri. The first thing that it did was ask me back, all right, what do you want to know? In this really fantastic Australian accent that I'm unfortunately not able to reproduce. So what we need is a property that can take this, this user query, and in order to expose this to the App Intents framework, we will use this parameter property wrapper here. And we want to use a title and a description. And the title will be question. And the description is a question to answer from your knowledge base. No idea what the intent collection size is about, but we don't need it. And then we also need the perform method. And the perform method is where we do the actual work. So let's think about what we need to do. First of all, we need to get the user's question. And if they didn't provide a question, then we'll need to go back and tell Siri, can you please ask the user what their question really was? The next thing is we'll need to talk to our database and find, well, not talk to the database, but talk to the QA service in order to get an answer for this question. So you can see that we've got this semantic QA service here. And so far, we've only been using this in the in-app chat window. So let me show this again. Where is my... Okay, so here is the application. And here is the built-in chat window. And this is where we've been using the semantic QA server so far. But now we want to use it in this Siri intent. And I think I've defined this as a singleton to make this easier. So we are going to get a reference to that. So let service, or let, how did I call it? Semantic QA service equals semantic QA service dot shared. Okay. So now I want to make sure that we actually have a query. Provided phrase equals query. And if we don't have a query, we will throw. And the cool thing is that the App Intents framework has a fancy way for us to throw an exception and throw the exception in such a way that the framework knows, oh, I need to go back to the user and provide or ask the user, hey, this intent really needs a question. Can you provide your question, please? So, got let. Okay, so query dot, I think is needs value error, right? So you can see that there are two methods that you can use. One of them is needs value error, and that's the one that we're going to use. And it allows us to request an input saying that, you know, this is really required, please provide an input. And apparently there is also a disambiguation error. So this one says returns a restart perform error with context for the user to disambiguate amongst an array of values from for this parameter and reperform the intent with the new value. So for example, if you've gotten a value from the user and you're not quite sure did the user mean X or Y, then you can basically pass those two values back into this method and ask the user, oh, which one did you mean? This one or the other one? Okay. And so let's see. We can provide a dialog, but I think we can also just provide a string, right? So sure, what would you like to know? Initializer for, what is, okay, so, all right, we need to make this optional. Okay, and then, so at this point, we definitely have a value in query because the framework will make sure of this. So now we can call the service, semantic QA service dot query, and we're passing in the query here. Oh no, provided phrase. That's it. And we call it using try await and let response equals try await semantic QA service. Okay. Cool. So we'll take care of that later on. And now we need to return something. So this is an intent result. So let's see what it can return. So it can return a dialog apparently. And here's a result function that we can use. So hi, Michaela. Good to see you. And I celebrate my bot that I programmed with canned messages for some of the regular visitors to this live stream. All right, so let's see how we can return something here. So return.result and open intent value. Let's see if we can just return a string. Let's try response. Does this work? Okay, so it seems like this might work. This error message here is stale, so it should go away once we finish compiling. which hopefully should finish any second now. Yeah, compiling while streaming is always a little bit slower. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so build succeeded. It will open on my phone, and let me bring back the mirror and also the console so we can see what's going on. Okay, so is it running? I'm not entirely sure. Let's try this again. Okay, yeah. All right, so this is the fresh build. And once this has finished starting, we can try it out. Oh yeah, and as my bot just mentioned, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. And if you like what you see, give me a thumbs up because it actually does help. Okay, so for some reason or the other, the data is not loading. This sometimes happens. Let's try this again. Hello, please run. Okay. Okay. You know what? I'll just sign out and sign in again. So tests at test.com and password. Oh, that is interesting, and that might also explain why we're not getting any data. Which is really funny because, I mean, there should be network. That is really weird. That is really weird. So let me see what's happening here. Okay, so this works. Yeah, I don't know when the official release date for Apple Intelligence in Europe is, but you can use it in the beta version. So let's try this again. Tests.com. Tests 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I'm going to do is, it's really stupid, but let's just uninstall the application and try again. Okay, so connection refused. Oh, wait, I might have, yes, that's it. So this was still using the emulator. Oh my God. Oh, all of the time it had been working, but I was trying to talk to the emulator, which, because this is running on a phone and it's trying to talk to localhost, and, there is no emulator running on localhost. Ah, my God. Okay, so this should be fine now. Okay. why is there no data? So we are signed in. Oh, it's a new account probably. Okay, anyways, let's take an article and paste it. Okay. Wow. Like, okay, insufficient permissions. Oh yeah, it's definitely, okay, so I think what did happen is the user account has a token that is invalid. So let's do something different. Peter at Peter Friese. .d. And repeat the password. Sign up. It's already in use. Okay, let's use a different one. And add this article here. Missing or insufficient permission. Okay, so I think there is another thing that I forgot to fix. Let's see. Okay. So first of all, in the log output, it did say permission denied, insufficient permission. So I'm going to check in the database what the security rules are. So here are our rules. And it says allow creation of authenticated user, and we need the requests. Okay, so this looks good. Let's double check that this is actually not using the emulator, so it's not using the emulator. And also let me check that this is the correct, okay, no, this is wrong. So let's take this. Okay, this is the correct application. Let's see. Okay, so here is our user. So that should be fine. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll back the rules and make sure that anybody can write. So allow read write if request time is before yeah, exactly. So oftentimes it's just the rules that are wrong. Okay, so I want to change them, and probably, where is my, okay, so here we go. So 2025, December 30, so should be good for a couple of days. Oh, why does it overwrite? Okay, publish. So this takes a moment, and let's just try this again. Oh yeah, of course, shared clipboard. So I have the security rules in my clipboard. Copy. paste, add. Wow. Okay, so did this actually write to the database and just not refresh? Okay, here we go. So it did write to the database, but for some reason it's not refreshing down here. Okay, so hopefully we're slowly getting there. I'll just rerun this. There's probably some hiccup with the authentication state in the application. Okay, here we go. Okay. Whew. And let's see. Okay, I'm testing my luck here, but let's see what happens if we add another article. So this one. Oh yeah, sorry. I could see it, but it was done here. So, right, so it's working. Whatever happened. So now let's see what happened to our intent, because that was what I wanted to show in the first place. What can I do here?
I don't have any suggestions for Sofia.
Okay, so our intent apparently is not registered, and before we can use it, we need to register it, but maybe we can use the Shortcuts app. So let's go here and then see if I can find the application. So here we are, Sofia, search in Sofia. That is what we want to do. Yep. And then run the, yeah, you can see it. Run this. What is the diff? Oh, well, this one, our database doesn't have everything in there. So what is telemetry? I think that should be possible. So let's see if this works. No answer. Okay. Oh, and here is a problem. Okay. So apparently, so this says, perform return types not declared in method signature. Did not declare returns value, but provided one. Okay, so let's take a look at our intents definition. And here it says we're returning some intent result. And we probably should have said we want to return a returns value. So let's see. So let's find this. Okay, returns value. Okay, is there an example somewhere? Probably not. Oh, wait. Okay, here we go. So this one is about rotating some documents. And okay, so it seems if you're returning a value, you need to provide a generic type so that it knows which one it is. So I think we want to return a string. Let's run the app again so that we have the updated intent definition. Okay, here is the app. Let's go into the Shortcuts app. Let's see if this works. Test. Okay, something happened. Let's go here and run this from here. Tests. Okay, it says tests. Let's run again with what is telemetry. Okay, cool. So, and the reason why we got test as an answer for saying test was that the problem, the model probably thought, oh, somebody is trying to test this here. So that was why we got back test. Okay, so our intent is working, but we need to register it. And let's see how we can do that. So let's go back. And I mean, one thing here is we could use the intent that I defined in the shortcut app, but that is a little bit cumbersome. So maybe it'll be easier easier for the user if we properly registered our intent in our application, and we can do that using a shortcut provider. So, and we're gonna name this ask question app shortcut provider, and this is of type app shortcuts provider. Here we go. Okay. Oh yeah, I need to tell it what it is. It's a struct. So, and now we need to conform to the protocol, and we need to return an app shortcut. App shortcut. And what we want to do is we want to pass a reference to the intent that we wrote, and then a couple of phrases how we can invoke this. So this looks good. Yeah, I think we want to use that. So first of all, a reference to our intent, and we need to instantiate it. Then a couple of phrases, a short title, and that can be search in Sofia, for example, and a system image name, search magnifying glass. And now let's define a couple of phrases. Search my knowledge base in. So now, instead of saying Sofia, there is a shortcut to doing this. And we can use .application here, .application name. And then let's do a couple more phrases. Search my second brain in application name, and it should probably be search. Talk to my knowledge base, talk to my second brain. Okay, so I think this should be good enough. And let's compile and run again. It's building. Let's bring Bezel back to the front. Okay, so this might be a slow compile. What's happening here? This is still running. Building, okay. Okay, so let's first of all see if the shortcut has been registered properly. What can I do here?
Here's something you can try in Sofia.
Okay, so adding this piece of code here basically is everything that we need to do in order to register our intent with Siri, and it can now, it's still listening.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Search my knowledge base in Sofia.
Sure. What would you like to know?
What is the difference between yield and sleep? So now it's oh, what happened? Let's see. Maybe I shouldn't have talked at the same time. Talk to my second brain in Sofia.
I don't see a Sofia in your contact.
Yeah. Okay. No, I don't want to call. Talk to my knowledge base in Sofia.
Sure. What would you like to know?
What is the difference between yield and sleep? Okay, I am not sure what's going on. So let's see if we can figure out what's the problem. Talk to my knowledge base in Sofia.
Sure. What would you like to know?
What is the difference between yield and sleep? Okay, I'm guessing that we might have a problem with this call. Although I'm not entirely sure what the problem should be. It's looking legit to me. But let's try. Talk to my knowledge base in Sofia.
Sure. What would you like to know?
What is the difference between yield and sleep? Okay, so here we go. Let's see what the phrase is.
Something went wrong. Let's try again.
I know. Okay, we're not getting the object. Okay, so Michaela says, why when throwing the query on line 49 does it have a dollar sign? Because I think we need to get to the projected value. But so instead of trying to get this print provided phrase, and let's do this up here, and let's try again. Okay. I might have an idea what might be wrong. Talk to my second brain in Sofia.
Which one?
Yep, nope. Talk to my knowledge base in Sofia.
Sure. What would you like to know?
What is the difference between sleep and yield? Okay, so print this value.
You're welcome.
Okay, okay, and then let's print the response as well. Oh, and also, let's double check if we're actually talking to the backend. So we should see the request coming through. Oh yeah, currently you can't see the phone, that's okay. So this looks good. So this is coming through. So apparently we're doing something wrong on the way back. Okay, let's try this again. I'm gonna bring the projector to the front. Talk to my second brain in Sofia.
Which one?
Talk to my knowledge base in Sofia.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Talk to my knowledge base in Sofia.
Sure. What would you like to know?
What is the difference between sleep and yield? Okay, here we go. Set another breakpoint here. Here's the response.
Something went wrong.
Okay, so we get the response. But apparently this is not the correct way to return this. So instead of, so I was trying to achieve a simpler way to return this, but instead of doing that, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump ahead to a further step where we are, or maybe let's try something. Let's see if the internet can help us out. Or maybe even, let me get another window. Let's get Gemini. Okay, so, and then give it this piece of code and ask it what's wrong. What's wrong with this piece of code? Okay, error handling, assumptions, print statements. Okay, so let's ask differently. I want to return a string. Am I doing this correctly by using the following Okay, let's see. The App Intents framework expects results to be wrapped in the returns value structure. This allows the system to properly handle and present the returned value. To correctly return a string inside of the perform function, you will want to return result value, use string value. Okay, I think that's what we're doing. Yeah, that's what we're doing. So I'm not entirely sure what is the problem. So there is another thing. So let me give it one more try and let's ask Alex about it. Okay. This doesn't work. Am I doing something wrong? Oh, okay. Okay, let's see. Let's apply this change. So the signature is different, and instead of returning .result, it says try returning .success. I'm not entirely sure about that. Yeah, no. That is actually wrong. Yeah. Okay, so this didn't work. So let me do it differently. So I'm gonna do one more try, because why not? And then I'm going to show you the final implementation I did. Here we go. Talk to my second brain in Sofia.
Which one?
Talk to my knowledge base in Sofia.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Talk to my knowledge base in Sofia.
Sure. What would you like to know?
What is the difference between sleep and yield? Okay, so this doesn't work. So instead of returning just a string, I'm going to return a provides dialog. So returns provides dialog and shows snippet view. So now what we need to do is we need to return .result and then a dialog. So where is the dialog? .result, is there? Okay. So intent dialog, and yeah, let's try that. String literal response. Return type of instance. Okay. Just like that. And run this again. Here we go. Talk to my knowledge base in Sofia.
Sure. What would you like to know?
What is the difference between yield and sleep?
The key difference between
Okay, here we go.
the context of my pleasure.
Okay, let's try again because I wanted to show something. Talk to my knowledge base in Sofia.
Sure. What would you like to know?
What is the difference between sleep and yield?
Task sleep 4 pauses the current task for at least the specified.
Okay, so I tried to scroll and you saw that we weren't able to scroll because what you saw on screen literally is everything that contained the answer. But there is a way how you can display excuse me, more information. So as the final step, I want to be able to display Markdown, because when you're talking to a knowledge base that contains knowledge about code, sometimes you'll get an answer that does contain code. So let me try this. And first of all, we need to import the Markdown UI package and also Swift UI. And then we can go back to saying we want to return show snippets view. And inside this string literal response, we can now return a snippets view. And the snippets view is going to be a Markdown view. And in the Markdown view, we'll send the response, which is a string that contains Markdown. And now we can format this Markdown view and, for example, add some padding. And then, and this is something that I'm going to copy and paste because the Markdown block style is a little bit more typing. Okay, and then I guess we should mark this as add main actor. So just to explain, this here is a SwiftUI view which can render Markdown. I add some padding, and then in this block here I define basically the style for the font size, what kind of background we want to use, and a clip shape. So let's run this again. And then I'm going to ask for some code. Talk to my knowledge base in Sofia. Well, it has. Talk to my second brain in Sofia.
Sure. What would you like to know?
How can I use yield in Swift? Show me some code.
While the provided context doesn't mention Swift directly, it does explain how to use task yield in Swift concurrency, which is applicable in any Swift project, including those that might interact with Swift's APIs or data. Here's how you can use yield. Understanding task yield. The task yield function suspends the execution of the current task and allows other tasks to run on the cooperative thread pool. This is important when you have a long-running, non-asynchronous operation that could block a thread in the thread pool. By yielding, you give other
Okay,
tasks
so
to execute.
as soon as I start talking, Siri tries to understand what I'm saying, but you could see that while I was scrolling through the answer, that there is code, and the code is inside a code block and is beautifully rendered. I can scroll. So it's beautifully rendered. Also, there are some headers, and I think I saw some bullet points as well, and enumeration. So this is proof of the fact that the model did return Markdown. The problem, though, is that this intro paragraph here that contains the entire answer. And while it is good because Siri is now reading that back to us and we can listen to what it says, it is way too much text. So we would definitely want to show a shorter text here. So there are two ways to do this. One of them is to just render a short text, or just clip the text, or just say, here is your answer. And the longer form is to go ahead and say, we are going to change the backend implementation and tell the backend implementation to return a shorter form of text. I'm actually going to do that. So let's see if we can do this in the next couple of minutes. So let's first of all go into the backend implementation here. And for those of you who haven't watched the previous videos, just a quick explanation. So this code here obviously is not Swift. And let me make it slightly larger so you can read it. This is not Swift, but this is TypeScript. And the framework I'm using here is called Genkit. It's been created by the Firebase team, but it's completely independent of Firebase. You can use it anywhere you like. You could run it. You could even run it on a Raspberry Pi if you wanted to. And what Genkit provides is a higher level of framework that makes working with AI super easy. And what we see here is a function that is a so-called flow. And I showed you how the flow works like when we looked into the backend. So while Genkit is independent of Firebase, it does have an integration with Firebase. And the reason why I was able to show you the flow and the structure of the flow in Firebase is that we have this telemetry, or not telemetry, but tracing integration with Firebase, and you can inspect all your runtime flows in Firebase in the backend. So another thing that is important here is that each of those flows has an input schema and an output schema. So in the input schema, you can see that we have two fields here. The first one is a question, and that is of type string, and the second one is history, and that is an array of chat messages. And if you're wondering why I didn't specify the types directly, but why I'm using this really fancy syntax here, this is another framework which is called Zord, and this allows you to define types and later on perform runtime type verification, something that you wouldn't be able to do if you're just using plain TypeScript types or JavaScript types. That is why we're using this. So what we want to do is we want to define an output schema. So I'm going to do that. Const output schema is z.object, and so we want to return a title or a short summary and the full response. So let's say summary, and that is type c dot. Yep, go ahead, c dot string. And then we have the answer, and that is also a string. And because we're not yet using this, I get this quiggle. So let's do this here. And now the compiler tells us, well, you know, this function here doesn't return the correct type. Okay, so let us do that. And instead of returning text, let's see. So we need to return a scalar, and yeah, that was a good start. Come on, summary. Yeah, not quite. So here's the answer, and that's the text. Okay, so now we need to tell this generate call that we want to return the model response in a slightly changed format. So let's actually go into the Genkit documentation and go and look at generate content, structured output. So here we see an example how we can call ai.generate using a prompt and then specify the schema we want to use, right? So it's the same. Oh, and sorry, you can't see it. Okay, so this is better. So it's the same structure that we need, right? So we have a prompt, we call ai.generate, and we want to specify the output schema that we can use. So let's do that. So ai.generate, and I always forget how exactly it works. Model, prompt, and then docs, and probably, nope, Why not? Oh, sorry about that. Okay. It is inside the object, so this should work. Prompt. Okay. So no overloaded matches. Overload 103 gave the following error. Maybe it's okay. So texts. Maybe it's the order of things. Let's see. Nope. Oh, wait. Nope. Okay, let's take a look at how this looks like. So we've got generate, and it takes a string prompt. We've got generate, it takes parts. We've got generate, it takes So here we've got the model. Generate stream. So oh, wait. Well, okay, what if we remove the model? No. AI.generate. No, it's not AI.retrieve. Okay, here we go. Context, output schema, and I did see the documents. So we definitely want to send the prompt. We also want to send the output. And now it's already unhappy. Let's just copy that. Okay, so let's move this here. Okay, and then okay, so const output is that. So what is a problem? Because output is already used here. Okay. So looking at what the type definition of output is, we can see that output will be generate response and it has summary and string, right? So, and we can just say we want to return output because that is what we wanted to return anyways. And now we need to adjust the prompt slightly. Answer the following question. Please use the following chat history as context. Return the result. Well, return a summary. Return a short summary and a long answer. So, and Genkit will also take the output schema and inject that into the prompt. Okay, so let me actually go ahead and deploy this to Firebase. So Firebase deploy, and while that's running, hopefully, oh, it did not compile. Okay. Okay. Oh, it's a promise. Okay, that makes sense. So we'll const output equals let me make this a little bit smaller so I can see what's going on. Okay. So output is generate response, and so do we need to destructure this? So let's take a look at the docs again. Well, this is not inside a flow. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, this might work. Nope. Oh, this is not assignable. What happens if we make it optional? Nope. That does not work. Okay, so maybe this works. Yeah. So if we get a null response back, will just return an empty response. It's definitely not the most elegant way to do it, but it will probably work. Okay, so this is deploying, and let's just wait and see if it fails. Okay, so this is looking good. So the next thing that we need to do is I'll have to update our client code. So let's copy this here and now go back into our semantic QA service. And you see that we're passing in a string and a history, and we're returning a string. So what we'll need to do is we'll need to implement a struct that matches our JavaScript object here. So public struct response is codable and sendable, and let summary is a string and let answer is also a string. Don't you love it when the AI helps you? So now we have the response, and we can update our function definition here. So we'll tell it that we get a response, and we'll also have to return a response here. And then if there is a problem, we will return the response, and the summary will be the error. And the answer will be empty. So now this should fail, the compilation should fail, sorry. So let's fix all those things here. So let for equals or no, yeah, so response dot summary and then response dot answer. So we're now using the short summary as the title of our intent and the long form answer for the markdown view. And there should be another compile error here. Okay. Okay, deploy is complete. Let's run the application. Here we go. Talk to my knowledge base in Sofia.
I don't see a Sofia in your contacts.
Talk to my knowledge base in Sofia.
Sure, what would you like to know?
What is the difference between yield and sleep?
Yield suspends a task to allow others to run, while sleep pauses a task for a set.
Okay, so you briefly saw it. We have a shorter title and a longer answer. Let's now see if we can get an answer with some code snippets. Talk to my knowledge base in Sofia.
Sure, what would you like to know?
What is the difference between yield and sleep? Can you please show me some code snippets that explain this?
The context discusses yield in Swift concurrency, not in the context of coats or clothing. Therefore, I cannot answer the question about the difference between yield and sleeve with relevant code snippets.
Okay, so it misunderstood code and thought I was talking about a jacket. So let's try again. Talk to my knowledge base in Sofia.
Sure, what would you like to know?
What is the difference between sleep and yield? Can you please provide some examples with code snippets?
Sleep pauses task execution for a specified duration, often used for debouncing, while yield voluntarily relinquishes the current task.
Okay, so here is a code snippet, and you can see that we've got the short answer up here and the longer form answer down there. So this is along the lines of what we want. And if we look at what happened in the background, let's go back into our trace viewer here and look at the most recent request. And you can see that we have our input into the flow. What is the difference between sleep and yield? Can you please provide some examples with code snippets? And the answer that we got from the model is also a piece of JSON object, and you got the answer here. And if we scroll down, you should see the summary, and the summary is here. So let's see how our requests made it to the model. So first of all, we've got this rephrasing, which takes the history and the current request and tries to come up with a new prompt that takes the history into consideration. But because we didn't have a history, that is not relevant. We are retrieving the documents, so that is great. And I think we should see it here. Okay. Return. Yeah, so this is what we injected into the prompt. And now let's see if Genkit does something additional. So it's passing in all the documents. More documents. No. I was kind of expecting to see Genkit do something to the prompt, but maybe it didn't. Okay, here we get all the different documents. It's kind of difficult to see because there's so much text. Yeah, no, it didn't. That's interesting, because I would have thought that Genkit would augment the prompt to do the type handling. But maybe this is not exposed in this kind of view. But anyways, so I think we made some good progress here. And maybe one final thing before I let you go. So this view here inside of the Firebase console, that is a really high level view of what's going on in Genkit. And you can see all those nice graphs here. But because each Firebase project is also a Google Cloud project, you can go into the cloud backend, so console.cloud.google.com, and then you can go into the Logs Explorer. And let's take a look at the last 5 minutes. And here we see all the log output, and this one here is the most recent request that we sent. And if I click on this little chip here, I can view the trace details, and you can see that we've got the QA flow callable and this other flow inside here. So you can actually inspect the trace as well, but you can see that it's not as detailed as the trace that we saw in Genkit. So calling the using the trace inspector in the Firebase console gives you a lot more insight into how your code actually performed. Well, here we go. So here is a more detailed view. So this is more similar to what we saw in Genkit. This is what I was looking for. So here we've got a call, and you see all the parameters down here. The input actually is redacted so that you don't leak any secrets. You can see the different steps of the flow. You can see the rephrasing. We generate something. We talk to the model. We talk to our retriever. We talk to the embedder, and yeah, a couple of model calls. But as you can see, I don't see the response data. So this view here is a lot more useful because I can see what's going in and what's coming out. Cool. And that is how you connect an application to Siri using App Intents. And as you can see, you can combine several AI technologies together to make something beautiful. And I think you also saw where the limits are, right? So Siri sometimes has a hard time understanding what I'm saying. It sometimes misunderstands words, and it's slightly slower because you have this additional remote call. And also, at least until now, it's not possible to have an ongoing conversation. So probably, and that's something that I'll have to do in the next step, when we get an answer from Siri, there probably needs to be a way to continue the conversation by clicking on a button, for example, so that you can ask follow-on questions. All right. And with that, we are at the end for today. Thanks everybody for tuning in. It was great fun, and thanks for sticking along until the end. I really appreciate it. As a reminder, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out when I go online the next time or when I publish pre-recorded videos. Also, give me a thumbs up if you like this type of content. If you've got any questions that you did not ask on the live chat, feel free to post them in the comments. I try to go through all of the comments after the fact, maybe not like in the next hour, but next couple of days, and try to answer most of them. And I think I'll be back next week, same time, same day, and there are things in the application that are missing. And one thing that's missing is this share sheet, so that you can actually tap on share this link to an application instead of having to copy it and then paste it into this dialog, which is really a little bit cumbersome. So that is probably something that we're going to do either next time or the one after that. And there are still a couple of other areas in Apple Intelligence that I want to look into in more detail. I did want to add support for Spotlight as well, but I didn't make enough progress to share it today. Maybe next time, maybe the next week. All right, thanks everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are on the planet. Bye.